Hi everyone. Now I'm at school today, but I would like to share another chapter with you. Anyway, this chapter is called, oh no, I lost our chapter. Here we go. It's called The Little Lost Island. Can you remember what happened in our last chapter? They were at the Land of Birthdays, weren't they? They had a feast. Can you remember what things are at the feast? Yeah. Now, something happened at the end of our chapter, didn't it? They all had a piece of birthday cake, and it was a wishing cake. Who was it that caused a problem? Shall we check? The children stared at him in delight. What should they wish? Franny was just holding her cake in her hand, thinking of a wish, when the old saucepan man upsets everything. Whatever do you think he did? I've loved seeing your ideas of what you thought he did. Let's find out, shall we? Chapter 32, The Little Lost Island. Wouldn't you like to wish? Said Moonface, turning to old saucepan man, who was just about to bite into his cake. Fish? Said the old saucepan man in delight. Yes, I'd love to fish. I wish we were all fishing for fine fat fishes in the middle of the sea. Well, what a wish to make, just as he was eating the wishing cake, because he hadn't heard Moonface properly. Anyway, the wish came true. A wind blew down, lifted up the whole crowd of guests at the table. Sitting on their chairs, clinging tightly, they flew through the air for miles. Whatever was happening. Down flew the chairs in the big wind. A shower of salt spray drenched everyone. Joe gasped and looked down. Bump! He and everyone else landed on soft sand, rolled off their chairs, and sat up, blinking in surprise. The long-bearded elves looked frightened. Moonface kept opening and shutting his mouth like a fish. He was so astonished. Joe was cross, and so, as always, was the angry pixie. Now what's happened? Said Dame Washalot in a most annoyed voice. Why have we come here? Look at all those fishing rods, said Silky, pointing to a whole row of rods standing in the sand with their fishing line in the water. Waiting for us, groaned Moonface. Silly old saucepan man didn't hear what I said about wishing. He thought I said fishing, and wished us all here fishing in the sea. Goodness, said Beth, alarmed. Where are we then? I think we're on the Little Lost Island, said Silky, looking around. It's a funny little place, always floating about and getting lost, but there was always good fishing to be had from it. Fishing? Said Joe in disgust. Who wants to go fishing in the middle of a birthday party? Let's get back at once. Ding dong, said Silky's clock, walking about at the edge of the sea and getting its feet wet in the waves. Come back, clock, said Silky. You know you can't swim. The clock came back and wiped its feet on the grass that grew around. Beth thought that it was a remarkably sensible clock, and she wished she had one like it. You know, we really must do something about getting back to the Land of Birthdays, said Joe, getting up and looking around the little island. What can we do? Is there a boat here? There was nothing except fishing rods. Nobody even touched them. They didn't feel the least like fishing. The little lost island was just a hilly stretch of green grass and nothing else whatsoever. I really don't know what to do, said Moonface, frowning. Do you, Mr. Whiskers? Do you? What do you think they could do? How could they escape from the little lost island? Saucepan Man really has got them in trouble, hasn't he? Mr. Whiskers was dressed up like Santa Claus. He looked very fine indeed, with his long beard. He rubbed his nose thoughtfully and shook his head. The difficulty is, he said, that none of us has any magic with him, because we're all in fancy dress and all our clothes are in the Land of Birthdays, so the spells and magic we keep in our pockets are not here, they're there. Well, we shan't starve, said what's-his-name. We can always fish. Fancy eating fish and nothing but fish, always, said Joe, making a face. When I think of all those lovely things that Beth wished for, nobody could eat them now. Really, I could cry. Franny had something in her hand when she looked down to see what it was. It was a piece of birthday cake. Good. She could eat that at any rate. She lifted the delicious cake to her mouth and took a nibble. What are you eating? Said Moonface, bending over to see. A bit of the birthday cake, said Franny, cramming all of it into her mouth. Don't eat it! Don't swallow it! Yelled Moonface suddenly, dancing around Franny as if he'd gone quite mad. Stop! Don't swallow! Why might he be saying that? Franny stared at him in astonishment. So did everyone else. What's gone wrong with Moonface? Asked Silky anxiously. Franny stood still with her mouth full of birthday cake, looking with amazement at Moonface. What's the matter? She asked with her mouth full of cake. You've got a bit of wishing cake in your mouth, Franny, shouted Moonface, hopping on one leg and then onto the other. Wish, dear girl, wish! What shall I wish? Said Franny. Wish us back to the land of birthdays, of course, yelled everyone else in excitement. Oh, said Franny, I wouldn't think of that. I wish we were all back in the land of birthdays enjoying our feast. Darkness fell round everyone very suddenly. No wind came this time. Moonface put out his hand and took Silky's. What was happening? Then daylight came back again, and everyone gave a shout of surprise and delight. They were back in the land of birthdays. Yes, there was a table in front of them, and more chairs to sit down on, and the same delicious food as before. Oh, good, 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 shouted everyone, and sat down at once. They beamed at one another, very thankful to be back from the little lost island. What a strange little adventure, said Joe, helping himself to a large piece of the wishing cake. Please be careful what you wish, everybody. We don't want any more adventures like that in the middle of a party. I wish that my wings could fly, said Beth as she munched her cake. And at once her silver wings spread themselves out, and she rose into the air like a big butterfly, flying beautifully. Oh, it was the loveliest feeling in the world. Wow. Look at me, she cried, and everyone looked. Franny called out to her, Don't fly too far, Beth, not too far. Beth soon flew down to the table again, her cheeks red with excitement and joy. This was the loveliest birthday party that she had ever had. Everybody wished their wishes, except the old saucepan man who had already wasted his. Franny too had wished her wish when she was on the little island, but when she looked upset because she had lost her wish, Moonface whispered to her, Don't be upset. Tell me what you really wanted to wish for, and I'll wish it for you. I don't want to wish for myself. Oh, Moonface, you are kind, said Franny. Well, if you really mean it, I did want a doll that could walk and talk. Easy, said Moonface at once. I wish that Franny had a doll that walked and talked. At the very moment, Silky cried out in wonder and pointed behind her. Everyone looked. Coming along on small, plump legs with a doll, beautifully dressed in blue, with a bag in its hand. It walked to Franny and looked up to her. Oh, you lovely doll, cried Franny in the greatest delight, and she lifted the doll onto her knee. It cuddled up to her and said, I belong to you. I'm your own doll. My name is Perenelle. What a sweet name, said Franny, hugging the doll. What have you got in that bag, Perenelle? All my other clothes, said the doll, and opened her bag. Inside were night dresses, a dressing gown, an overcoat, a raincoat, overalls, dresses, and all kinds of other clothes. Franny was simply delighted. What did you wish for, Joe? Said Beth. Joe was looking all around and about as if he expected something to arrive at any moment. I wished for a pony, said Joe. Oh, look, here it comes. What a beauty! A little black pony with a white mark on its forehead and 4 white feet came trotting up to the party. It went straight to Joe. My own little pony, cried the little boy in delight. Let me ride you. I shall call you Midnight Star for the little white star on your black coat. He jumped on the pony's back, and together they went galloping all around the land of birthdays. Now, let's play games, cried Moonface, capering about, and as soon as he said that, the table vanished, and music began to play. Musical chairs, shouted Silky as the chairs suddenly put themselves together in a long row. Come on, everybody. That's the end of our chapter. Our next chapter is chapter 33. Safe back home again and goodbye. Wow. I wonder what you would wish for if you had some wishing cake. Would you wish for more wishing cake? Thanks for joining me for another chapter, and I'll see you tomorrow for our chapter 33. Bye-bye.